With the first major wave of free agency out of the way and the NFL draft fast approaching, we're going to continue our series here looking at potential draft prospects. We're gonna shift now into more positional need when we look at these draft prospects. And so far in free agency, the Minnesota Vikings have not addressed the offensive line quite yet. So we wanted to look at the because the tackles are fine. So we wanted to take a look at our top 5 prospects for interior offensive line, discuss them, kind of see where we rank them, and explain why we ranked them in this order. There's a little bit of disagreement near the end here, so stay tuned for that. We don't normally disagree on things, but this time we have a little back and forth on our number 1 and 2 overall guys. So but yeah, without further ado, I say let's jump right into this.
Yeah, and then before we move on here, I want to thank everybody watching GG Sport Podcast, a podcast of the Minnesota Vikings. We're endure heartbreak, but always bleed purple. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, get notifications whenever we continue making content, all that good stuff. But yeah, let's dive in here. So at number 5, we've got Cole Strange from Chattanooga.
Yeah, if you watched our last mock draft video, we actually drafted him near the end of the 3rd round. So
yeah, we did.
Like to have that. We drafted one of our guys over our next guy, actually, but that is what it is. So a little bit about Cole Strange. Obviously played at Chattanooga, 6'5", 307 pounds, ran a 5.0340. PFF gave him an overall grade of 86.3. Dug a little bit into some highlights. We both watched basically the same highlights videos of all these guys. What I really noticed, I thought he was a very good run blocker. And sometimes it almost seemed like he would over pursue blocks a little bit. Like he's got too much energy trying to block these people and he'd miss some assignments. But the one thing I did notice with that, he was very fast getting to the second level. He's a solid pass blocker. I notice he can get a little bit overpowered sometimes and loses his footing. But I watched his 140-second clip of him at the Senior Bowl, and he was doing some one-on-ones, and the man was just after the block. He's barking at the guy as he's walking away. I love what I saw from him from that perspective. Didn't realize that he had the frame 6'5", 307. That's huge.
Yeah.
I like him. I saw a lot that I liked. I think he's kind of in that maybe the second, maybe even third tier of offensive linemen in this draft. It's I think after the top 2 or 3, it does kind of take a drop off. But if they could get him, I mean, we took him in an earlier round. I would be cool with him near the end of like the 3rd round, maybe the 4th round. But I think he's a good prospect, and I think he could really help out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we did have our 4th round pick because I think him and our 4 guy has a chance to land in that area. I feel like it could be kind of a stretch to pick him with our 3rd round picks, but they could be in that 4th round, and I would be more than happy to do it in the 4th round. But yeah, I like him a lot. I think, like you already said, his height, 6'5", 307, 33-inch arms. So whatever that would be for his wingspan, but 33-inch arms, and then 10 and 1/8 inch hands, which is really good for a hand size. But the big thing was he's one of the most athletic interior linemen in this draft, in this entire draft, with like you already said, a 5.0340. That's one of the best 40s of all interior O linemen. Bench 31. He's strong. 28-inch vertical. The big one that stands out the most to me is his broad jump, which is 100 or 120 inches, which is by far the biggest that I've seen for interior linemen in this draft. So he's like one of those players who has all the intangibles. Plus, like you already says, PFF grade was 86.3. He has the 86.3. He has played really well, big and super athletic, and that's everything you really would want out of and he has that bark, like you said, out of a guard or any offensive lineman. I think the big thing for us, and the reason why he's number 5, is his competition was just, he put for Chattanooga. They don't play in one of the big conferences. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what kind of hurts him is he's not against, some of the best defensive ends in the nations every single games. I mean, he did a good job in the Senior Bowl, so that's really big, but we don't really know. So I look at him as kind of like a boom or bust guy that has just this really high upside, and I would be happy if we were able to. I don't want to do it too early, but I'd be happy if we ended up getting him and took a chance on that upside.
I mean, he's definitely not a guy you're going to draft to start right away. He's a guy you would draft and develop for a year or two and just see kind of what you can get from him.
Like the intangibles are there.
Right. And
type
like
of guy.
the thing that I really like, I was watching for these linemen is a lot of like the lateral quickness, like obviously with him, I with some of the blocks, when you help block and then someone's coming around to your right, you got to take that quick step to get over to him. And he was solid. Not the best that I saw through watching these guys, but he was definitely solid. So I would be happy with him later on. Again, project guy, not a future starter, or not a, immediate impact starter. I do not believe.
Yeah.
So jumping to number 4, we got Kentucky's Luke Fortner. He jumped like with some of the guys a little bit lower tier here. Like he jumped off the page to me. I thought he was bigger. I thought he looked bigger than Cole Strange, but he's smaller. He's 6'4", 307, 5.2140 time. Overall PFF grade of 85.1. I thought he looked a lot bigger. Maybe he's just bigger in the stomach. I don't know, but I thought he looked pretty big. He's got positional flexibility, played center and guard as well. Another one I noticed, gets to the second level fast. Very solid run blocker. Seems tough, active. He's always moving, always looking for somebody to hit. And that's what you like to see. Just do something. Don't just stand there. In pass blocking, I noticed he has solid leverage. Sometimes I feel like he can get pushed back and lose his footing, but usually he always gave his quarterback enough time to throw. I don't think they did a ton of like just straight drop back passing, but overall leverage wise too, I think he stays pretty low, as low as you can for being a guy that's 6'4", but I liked him. I thought he looked like a bulldog type player. He loves to hit, loves to find people to take on. Again, you see the drop off in technique from our top 3 guys down to him, but if we were to get him in like the late 3rd, 4th round, we can, unless we trade it up, I would be happy with it. I liked what I saw. Again, just the big thing I like to see is he's always looking for someone to hit, very active. So
yeah, I like that too. And it's nice because, we would like, best case scenarios for us is Wyatt Davis ends up being that guard we've been looking for, and we just replace Bradbury. And to know he's a center is definitely a plus. But you said 85.1 for PFF grade, which is fantastic. Allowed 2 sacks, 1 hit, 2 hurries. Very good. Still really good size at 6'4", 307, 33 inch and 1/8 arms, and then a 10-inch hands. So it's still big hands. He's not as athletic as some of these guys on our list with the 5'21", 40, 24 vert, 102 broad, 775 3 cone, and 495 shuttle. But the reason why that separated him to us with Cole Strange is that it's just the competition level. He plays in the SEC. He's up against some of the best defensive talent in college football, and he did really well. I mean, a PFF score of 85.1 is super good against that kind of talent, and it's only a little bit less than Cole Strange, who's playing against much less talent. But so yeah, I mean, I like this guy a lot, and if we were able to get him, I mean, I think he could be definitely a sleeper at 7 or at center. And he's someone that I would actually really like to see, especially if we really want Wyatt Davis at that guard spot. I think you take a chance on a guy like him, and he could end up turning into that center that we're looking for. But
I agree. But again, I think he's a project. I think number 3 is where you start to get into that range where
there's
could be
massive
starter. But
there's a massive
drop
off. Yeah, because we're talking like this is both our guys. I'd be cool to take early 4th, maybe late 3rd. I mean, if we took one of these guys in the 3rd round, it would be like, that seems kind of early, but I would be like, but it could work out really well.
Right.
These other guys, if one of these, our last 3 guys, if any of them are around by our 12 or our next pick in the 2nd round, our first pick in the 2nd round, we pull the trigger is how I feel about that. Yep. Unless there's someone else out there that we really like that somehow dropped too. But
yeah, though I do think
the big difference.
Our number 3 guy being Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M, who blocked for Kellen Mond, by the way. I do think that there is also a drop off between him and our top 2. I think he could potentially be a starter in his first year. I think the other 2 are like straight up could start right away if you need them to.
Yeah.
But let's go over Kenyon Green a little bit here. 6'4", 323 pounds, massive man. 5.24 40, pretty quick for that size. PFF grade of 79.8, which isn't the best. What I saw from him, he had positional flexibility. Another guard. Did he play tackle too? Is that what it was? Guard tackle, I think. I
wasn't sure what it was.
But I think he was a guard tackle. What I know is really good pass blocking. gives the quarterback plenty of time to throw. He finishes off blocks, was one thing that I really noticed, even in the run game as well. It does seem the thing that kind of separates him from his from spoiler alert, our top two guys, I do feel like he kind of gets pushed off balance easily. The thing that really popped out to me, you know how I mentioned that lateral quickness. There was one play where he was helping the center block, and a guy came around to his right and just snapped and pushed, had a nice punch. And it was really amazing to see. I love the lateral quickness. When pass blocking, sometimes I know his feet get a little slow, gets off balance, gets pushed back. But the thing I really liked about him is he's again active blocker. He finds guys and he's never standing around, and he finishes off his blocks aggressively. And that's what you want to see out of an offensive lineman, just pure aggression. And yeah, I like him. Again, I think number 3 is a fair spot for him. I think he is also a step below number 1 and 2 on our list, but I like him.
Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, I think he is a step below them, but I don't think he's his biggest step. I honestly don't think he's going to even. I think he's going to be off the board before our second pick even comes up. It's just because I think, his PFF 79.8. That's pretty solid. It's around 80. That's definitely pretty solid. 1 sack, 2 hits. The 7 hurries is a little concerning. Still really big at 6'4", 323 pounds. So weighs a lot. 34-inch 1 1/8 hands, or arms, which is some of the longest arms, and 10-inch 3/8 hands. So we're almost 10.5-inch hands, huge hands. He's not as athletic as some of these guys with 5'2", 440, 20 bench. I was expecting more out of his bench, honestly. And I'd say that because out of any players of their videos that I watched, I thought he had the most aggressive blocks out of anybody. And I thought he played more aggressive than any other player. And that's the reason why I don't think he's as big of a drop off from our first 2, because I had him. I just liked the way he was playing, even though my number 1, I still think was a close second to that. But so that, I guess that's how I look at it for there. But
so here's where we get into a little bit of difference. So number 2, my number 2 is my number 2, is Zion Johnson. His number 2 is Tyler Linderbaum. So how do you want to go first? You want to explain your thoughts? Why you put Linderbaum number 2?
Sure. So Linderbaum,
which I guess we could just kind of pop it here too. Number 1 obviously is
the opposite. Yeah. So we can just talk about both of them. So yeah, we just switched on these. I guess I'll go first. I think.
Tell me why you like one and didn't like the other. Let's just do it that way.
So obviously I like them both, but the main thing is with Tyler Linderbaum. I mean, he had a PFF grade of 95.4, which is insane. And 1 sack, 2 hits, 4 hurries. So technically he's absolutely there, and he's definitely, he might be the most pro ready. He might be the most pro ready offensive lineman in this draft, maybe pro ready based on skill and technique. But that being said, he's 6'2", 296. He didn't quite get past that 300-pound weight that you'd like to see. 31-inch 1/8 arm, still good hands at 10. He skipped the combine, so we weren't able to see where his athleticism is at. So I think what the biggest worry for him is he one of those players that are kind of at his ceiling? Like, what is his ceiling? What's his upside? I mean, is he going to come in already? He could come in and just be a straightaway starter, for sure. But he doesn't really have that extra upside as far as I know. I wish we were able to see kind of what his combine looked like so I could have a better idea of what his athleticism really is. But I think him being kind of smaller, it just, I think he could come in and probably be the best offensive lineman year 1, or offensive interior lineman year 1. But I think my boy Zion Johnson has the biggest upside in this entire draft. So I might as well just keep going with him and then let you talk, you think?
Yeah.
Or what do you want to do?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason why I like Zion Johnson as my number 1 is he still had a very solid score, PFF score, and both of them are in really good competition. I want to say that too. And same with Kenyon Green. That's another one. He's also in SEC, so he's playing against the best competition. So that's another positive for him. But Zion Johnson also playing very good competition. I think his tape to me showed very strong and aggressive, and I really like that out of offensive linemen. So that's like from the tape perspective. But 84.4 PFF, 1 sack, 2 hits, 3 hurries, very low numbers there. Also, very good size at 6'3", 312 pounds, 34-inch arms, and almost getting close to 11-inch hands. So huge hands. But he's also is very athletic and very strong with a 5.18 40-yard dash, 32 bench, 32-inch vertical, 112 broad, 738 3 cone, and 446 shuttle. I just think he already has, and he has good technique. He plays nasty. He's big and he's athletic. And I just think he has the highest upside of any of these interior offensive linemen. I think he has really high ceiling, and I think he could end up being one of the best interior offensive linemen in the NFL.
All right. See, okay. I agree with a lot of what you said there, right? First off, I just want to start with comparing these two in their run blocking. These both, that's the first thing that really jumped off the page to me with these two, is they're both amazing run blockers. I even my first initial thought when I watched Zion Johnson was a mauling run blocker. He pushes people to the ground. Mm-hmm. He's finding people to hit. He's bursting into that second level to find somebody to hit. Good balance in the running game when he's blocking. Actually, they're very, and I thought this was kind of surprising because they're very similar. They look similar. He almost felt more powerful to me than Linderbaum did in the run game. However, Zion Johnson's PFF run blocking grade was an 84.4. Tyler Linderbaum's was a 96.6. And I noticed a lot of the same things with him. He wasn't like the mauler, like the big finisher pushing people to the ground, but he, the thing I thought is like the first play I saw Linderbaum was just straight up, like just an absolute like prowess run blocker. Mm-hmm. Great at finishing blocks, gets to the second level quickly. He's another one of those guys that always is looking for somebody to hit. That's a similar thing between both of these guys. And my big jump comes in the passing game when we get to that. So I feel like they're both obviously very good run blockers. They find people to hit, they push people to the ground, they make room for their running backs to go. But the thing that when I get into it, and I was actually surprised that Linderbaum's pass blocking grade was so low, 79.8. Zion Johnson's an 81.6. I thought Linderbaum looked a lot more comfortable in the pass blocking game. And I see what you mean, looking a little small. I feel like you could potentially call him almost like a Garrett Bradbury clone size-wise, which is worrying to some, but I say scout the player and their talent, not based on who they look like or what they seem similar to. I just felt like Linderbaum had a lot more balance and a lot better technique when pass blocking. I noticed that on a lot of their pass blocking snaps, he gets that nice stance. He keeps the feet moving. I feel like sometimes Zion's feet get a little messed up, but he's still also an amazing pass blocker. But the one thing that I saw that gives me that bump up on Tyler Linderbaum is I don't know how good Zion Johnson's going to be at a pure drop back passing game. I noticed a lot of like quarterback runs or quick passes to where you're kind of sitting there moving laterally, waiting, keep like the linemen don't make a pure bull rush on you because you're not going to drop back and pass it. Or Linderbaum, I noticed that they had a couple plays where they dropped straight back and he had nice form, kept him away from his quarterback. And Zion Johnson, I just don't know if he has that. And so that's part of the reason why I view Linderbaum a little bit higher. I just love the technique. I love the footwork. I think he keeps his feet much better. He holds up very well where I feel like I said, where I feel like Zion Johnson can get pushed back sometimes, easily get off his balance. He still makes enough room for his quarterback, but I personally feel like with technique and Big Ten football, I do think that Linderbaum for me has an edge up on Zion Johnson. I think both these guys, very good chance to be late first round picks, early second round picks at the latest. But yeah, I like them both. I'd be happy with either of them. I think they could come in and start right away, either of them. But I do, just because of the reasons I gave, they're both great run blockers. I like how Linderbaum looks from a pass blocking perspective and the scheme he was in, kind of comparing to what we're going to get with an O'Connell scheme coming from the Bay coaching tree. I think having more tape of those straight drop back blocking situations is going to be better for Linderbaum in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. I think Tyler Linderbaum is definitely more technical sound. He's I don't think there's any question about that. For me, it's definitely it's just the upside of Zion Johnson. I think he already is a very decently good technical blocker in the pass and the run. And I think his aggressive in the run it really sets it apart for me. His aggressive in general, that sets it apart for me, I guess. But it's just the upside. I mean, he just has the size, especially the hand size and the strength and the athleticism, where I just think, I like I said earlier, I think Tyler Linderbaum is a guy who would come in and probably be the better player right off the bat. But I would not be surprised if Zion Johnson, it didn't take him kind of too long to surpass him and being that best interior line in this draft. But I mean, who knows? Only time will tell now.
An impressive stat that I forgot to mention with Tyler Linderbaum in 1,201 pass blocking snaps, 2 sacks allowed only throughout his career. So those are great numbers. I like to see that. Yeah. So either way, I think either of these guys I'd be happy with. For sure, Linderbaum and Zion Johnson I feel super good with. If we could get them later in the first, if we trade back, or in the second round, I think they'd come in. They could both either of them could potentially start right away. Kenyon Green, I'd like to see maybe later in this. I mean, with our second round pick, I'd be fine with taking them. The other two are definitely later on, probably late day 2, early day 3 talents. So
yeah, and I agree that. I wouldn't want to. I'm not trying to pick one of those guys with our 12th overall pick in the first round. I mean, I think that'd be a reach if we did. Personally, if any of those 3 landed to us in our second round, I think you pull the trigger unless someone else is out there. Or like you said too, like Kenyon Green, I think you definitely pull the trigger. I think depending on who we pick in the first, if we pick a cornerback in the first, and then our biggest next need is a guard or a center, and he's there in the second round. I don't think you try to get too cute. I think you take him. It just really depends on who else is there. I mean, if there's a quarterback we really like there, and we're like, all right, that's our guy, and he's value is hell there, or even another cornerback that drops and that look, so it all depends on, I think, kind of who we pick, but
yeah, you never know. I personally think there's going to be a first round run on some linemen. I'm going to say it right now. I don't think Zion Johnson or Tyler Linderbaum get out of the first round.
Yeah, I actually don't. I definitely don't think those two, but I would not be surprised if even Green doesn't make it out of the first.
Man, it could be. You never know. I mean, lineman, it's an important thing to have with an offensive lineman. So we'll see. But anyway, that'll do it for our top 5. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. Let us know your top 5 offensive linemen in this upcoming draft. Let us know your thoughts on our top 5 down in the comment section below. If you want to check out some of our other videos, they'll be right up here for you guys. Most importantly, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And we will see you guys in the next episode of the GG Sports Podcast.
SKOL Vikes.